we're live on a Tuesday morning. Happy Tuesday to you. It's in Northern Virginia here. It's just foggy as heck outside. It's foggy. It's humid. It's all the things that you probably don't want in a Tuesday morning, but they're here. We still got to start our day. We still got to get our day going, get out there and make things happen. We got to get out and do our job, make the things that we do the things they do. Our early coffee this morning is in a Cowboy Bebop cup, a cup I got a couple years ago from macOS. So we'll enjoy our cup of coffee. We'll jump into the news as we get started. Hope you guys are having a good day. Hope things are going well for you out there. Hope your career is moving forward. Good morning, Paul. Nice to see you on the line. I can always count on one thing. I always count on you being like the first one on here. So let's do the intro and then we'll talk about the news. Always the groovy intro. So a lot of stuff going on. We see kind of the same reoccurring pattern cycles. Today, not a ton on ransomware. Ransomware doesn't seem to be in the stories today. We have a lot more kind of geopolitical stuff going on, which is, I guess, okay. So our first story, let me get the setup going here. I'll move myself way over there. New Zealand seizes $90 million in assets from a Russian cybercrime suspect. So New Zealand police have seized assets worth about 140 million New Zealand dollars, about 90 million US dollars in digital currency. And this cat, Alexander Vinnick, has been accused of masterminding some Bitcoin laundering. He's wanted both by France and the United States. This is the largest restraint in New Zealand police history of funds. They say Vinnick is in charge of running the BTCE digital currency exchange used to trade Bitcoin and facilitate crimes ranging from computer hacking to drug trafficking since 2011. Vinnick is claiming, no, I was just a consultant. I was a tech consultant for BTCE, but he's been arrested nonetheless. He's got laundering allegations in Greece in 2017. He's been extradited to France, where he remains in custody. Police commissioner in New Zealand said the funds are likely to reflect profits gained from victimization of thousands globally. So New Zealand's made a stance. They say they're not going to be the company. They're not going to be the country that will harbor these types of folks, even if it's just their digital assets. So 90 million they seized. I don't know what happens next, but it remains to be seen. BitDefender is also in the news. So Vladimir Plant is a security blogger. He also developed the initial ad blocker plus extension, and he discovered there's a vulnerability in how BitDefender protects users from invalid certificates when you're browsing the web. So essentially, BitDefender works as a middleman, a man in the middle, as you're surfing the internet. And it's a proxy for HTTPS communication. So it's doing a little bit of inspection of packets, is doing a validation of the certificates coming across, and it's making sure that everything is good to go. So whenever you see that pop-up that comes up that says, the certificate is not valid, it's expired, it's not whatever, it's a warning that comes up. That's what BitDefender does. If you want to go to the link, obviously I'll show it in the obviously, I'll throw it in the show notes below. If you ignore it, you can go on the website. But they found that if you're presented with this page in BitDefender, the browser can be potentially essentially hijacked. download certificates from other web pages on that same server within what they call the BitDefender's safe pay virtual browsing environment. So basically, essentially saying just because that one page is invalid doesn't mean other pages are invalid, and it can also lead to remote execution and the presentation and processing of malicious code. So Plant did a proof of concept running a local web page and showed how this could be a bad thing. The big thing, make sure that if you're running any of these software tools, any of these protective tools, that they're from a valid source, a reputable source. BitDefender really is. Make sure they're updated and just keep track of the best local security news, obviously. Keep up on your security news. Know what's going on, because these things change day by day. BitDefender obviously will be fixing this. Next thing is talking about these global issues that go back and forth. Talk about China and the European Union. European Union president has challenged China, has told them essentially stay away from our hospitals, stay away from the sources we're using to try to develop COVID-19 pandemic resources, including any vaccines. It's part of a summit between the European Union and China. A bunch of other things were talked about, but they definitely brought to the table that EU is worried about China attacking any of these research firms, any of these hospitals. And they pointed back to a couple prime things. They pointed back to the second largest hospital in Czech Republic was the victim of a cyber attack in March, while a Champaign-Urbana public health district in Illinois had its website taken down by hackers that same month. The Department of Homeland Security and the FBI put out a joint alert last month warning that Chinese government-backed hackers were targeting U.S. groups involved in COVID-19 research. And obviously, what they're trying to do is they're trying to get research that will help them come up with a vaccine, get any leap on the West on being able to defend against this thing. So COVID-19 remains to the forefront of a lot of the cybersecurity stuff. Many nation states are attacking other areas that are doing this research, other countries trying to get a springboard on doing this. So major health agencies have been targeted by cyber criminals over the past few months, including the World Health Organization and the Department of Health and Human Services. We can see these things, that there's two facets to the attacks on COVID-19. Attacks like these that are direct attacks against folks that are trying to do research on this, and then using COVID-19 as a way to phish people, including spear phishing. And we see this even, some of the mobile applications out there that are supposed to be helping people about contact reporting. A lot of those are malicious too. Make sure you're getting any of your apps that are talking about COVID-19 from a trusted source, which the Google Store or the Apple Store, and make sure not only are they from there, but they're from a reputable developer of applications, because as we've seen in the past, both in the Apple Store and the Google Store, it's possible for folks to get malicious applications in there. Normally they're cleaned up pretty fast, but we have to watch out for that. And a good morning to you, Alex, as well. I was telling Paul he can be one of the ones I count on for being here every morning. Alex, you're in the same group here every morning. So China and the EU, they said a lot of good things came out of the conference. It was a virtual conference. Obviously, most things are going virtual these days, but definitely there was a gauntlet thrown down. Stay out of our healthcare. macOS, macOS is in the news again, and it's really it's the same thing we talked about yesterday. If you're doing a Google search, it's possible for an ad to be presented, the ad or a display screen. So an ad or display screen that's going to say, hey, it's a disguised Flash player install. You want to make sure if you're watching these things, first of all, and like we said yesterday, get rid of Flash. Don't use Flash anymore. But what they've done is they've packaged some malicious code. It looks like a Flash player install. It actually walks you through the install process so that it can get by the macOS Catalina security measures. That's why they bring the install screen up on your screen, and they bring it up. Let's see what we got going on here. Couldn't sleep, didn't even know YouTube was available this early in the morning. I agree, Alex. And good morning. Good morning. Good morning, Hamini. It's like I said earlier, here in Northern Virginia, we are foggy and just humid as heck. So anyway, back to the Mac thing. The biggest thing I can say, just stay away from Flash. If you're going to use Flash, make sure you go to Adobe to get it. Don't have a pop-up from your Google search install the software. So if you're out there doing a Google search and you're trying to watch a video or something like that, the pop-up comes up that says your Flash player is out of date and they're going to offer to install it right there. Obviously don't do that. Go to Adobe if you want to do that, if you want to run Flash. Do know that in December, Flash is just going away. Not going to be supported anymore. HTML5 is the way to go. It's the way of the future. So that's a rundown of the cyber news. Everybody knows I like to throw in the day of the this weird holiday, whatever we got going on. Not always weird holiday, but today is International Widows Day. This was set up by the United Nations. It's an actual United Nations holiday, a day of action encouraging countries and organizations to strive to eliminate poverty and injustice suffered by millions of widows, their dependents around the world. We may not see it so much in the United States, but it's a serious problem, often most seen in impoverished and developing worlds. UN resolution called upon member states, the United Nations, and others, and then international and regional organizations to give special attention to the situation of widows and their children. Fact of the day, according to the United Nations estimate, there are 258 million worldwide widows. Set up in December of 2010, the United Nations General Assembly passed the resolution unanimously, making June 23rd the annual celebration of International Widows Days. It's one of the days, that'd be a terrible situation to be in. But that's the news of the morning. So one of the things I want to do is I'm going to jump over here in a second, and I want to look at something. Let me move this back over real quick. We're doing this summer of projects, and it may be a whole year of projects by the time we get done with it. One of the things we're doing, and it looks like the first one based on popular demand. First one we're going to do is we're going to secure a network from the router in, or as Alex likes to say, maybe the router out. He corrected me yesterday. Apparently, it's legal and valid either way, and I'm good with that. We'll take the router, walk our way back into the network, and we'll start securing things. So it'll be things like securing printers. First starting with the access point that comes with your cable subscription, securing that, installing the firewall, getting child protective measures in place, what we'd like to call, proxy filtering. That's how they all have some type of safe web browsing within them now. We'll also look at printers, look at Internet of Things devices, those devices we now connect to our network. Ring doorbells are all over the place. Nest thermostats are everywhere. Cameras, we're seeing everywhere. And then we're going to ratchet up another level, and we'll install a kind of the first tier router, switches, access points, and even security cameras for a kind of a unified corporate level, low class, still less than $1,000. And I know that seems like a lot of money a lot of times, but we'll say talking about a business, securing a small office. This is kind of the equipment we'd see to secure a small office. It does a ton of things. We decided to go with Ubiquiti. So we're going to use Ubiquiti equipment. We're going to use the Unified Defense the Unified Dream Machine, UDM. It has a video recorder in it. It has an IPS in it, has firewall in it. It can handle a ton of stuff, including control of the access points and control of your video cameras. All that stuff, we're going to build that out. We got some of the equipment coming in now. But to do this all, to get it all up and running, we're going to have to go back to the days of Jim early in his career, running cables and making cables. So we got to make cables. We're going to have to install equipment throughout Cyber-Recon global headquarters here in Northern Virginia. We're going to be installing stuff. So we got to get back to the basics of how do you build a Cat5, Cat6, Cat7 cable. How do we build a network cable? It's going to be one of the first things we tackle. I did it when I was young, and then a few years ago I had to do it again, and it's just a perishable skill. It took me 4 or 5 times to just make a simple network cable. So we're going to go through that process. We're also going to install a network attached storage, a NAS device, and then we're going to come up with a way to have a NAS backup. We're going to do a RAID 1 solution, but then we're going to have an external storage on it, and we're going to have a system that will take all of your old hard drives, all your old SD cards, all your old flash cards, and convert them into this new NAS. So we're going to try to clean up stuff. We're going to include the addition of the Neat scanner. I had to look over and see what it was. The Neat scanner to get your paperwork gone. We're going to digitize all of our paperwork. We'll have a redundant copy not only on our NAS, but on the cloud as well. So we're going to talk about some cloud security stuff. There's a ton of stuff going on this year. So the first thing I wanted to show you came in yesterday. I had to get one because I haven't had one of these in years. So I'm going to switch to the overhead camera. We're going to look at this. This is the Kline Tools, and there's a bunch of different good manufacturers out there. And this is the Kline Tool Pro Pack VDV, and this is really for your entry-level folks. This is on Amazon. I'll create the link. I'll throw the link down below. This is about $195 on Amazon. Excuse me. This one is nice because it has everything you're going to need to run cabling, RJ45 connectors, RJ11 connectors, even connectors for coax like cable and other types of coax cabling. It does seem like a lot. What you saying, Alex? When will it start? And will there be exact hardware you'll be using to? Yeah, right. And I'll throw that. Let me throw that up on the screen, Alex, because that's a good one. So Alex's question is, when will it start? Will it be the exact hardware you'll be using listed somewhere? Well, I can't read this morning, Alex. Sorry. If you want to follow along, once everything gets in, just like this, we're going to walk through everything. I'll provide links to everything, and I'll provide prices to everything because I think it's important to know. This was not figured into the $1,000 just because this is equipment that maybe some people have. And I'll get that. We're definitely, when we will be having everything up. I'll probably have everything up Friday. We'll show you the whole Ubiquity setup, at least the majority of it. I'll include links to everything. And just so you know, I did sign up for an Amazon affiliate membership. So it's not that I get extra money on top of something. It doesn't cost you anything extra, as you guys, if you know how Amazon affiliate works. If you go to the link I provide, you'll pay the same $195 like for this thing, but I get we get a little bit of money back to help pay for things here. So doesn't cost you anything extra. I'd love if you use our links, but if you don't want to, you can go straight to Amazon, pay the same exact price. But I'll throw the link to this thing in the show notes below. But I want to show you what comes in this. Like I said, it's $195 for this. It may seem, it is a bit of money. It's a chunk of money, but Kline Tools are good tools. Kline Tools are tools that, I remember electricians and linemen especially using when I was young. So this thing here is your cable stripper. So it strips different types of cabling. If you used anything else in the past, This will amaze you how this works. It's so fast. You can strip coax cable, Cat5 cable, Cat6 cable. I'll be saying Cat5 cable. Please know that that'll be synonymous with Cat5, Cat6, Cat7, whatever. Punch down tool, universal punch down tool for making, if you're building a relay rack, if you're building a server cabinet, if you're installing your network cabling into a wall plate, this is it's totally needed. Your crimper, this is a nice one. RJ45 and RJ11, which means just network data cables and phone cables, if you want to make phone cables. It's got a cutter. It's ratcheting. I don't know if you guys can. It's a ratcheting crimper. What else we got in here? They got a special name for these things, but these, I think drop snips is what they call them or something like this. Really nice scissors, serrated, and they've got the notched area for your wiring. So that's a nice setup. Instruction manual. This is another type of crimper. So this is a crimper for your coax cable, like your cable TV cabling. This is what you want to make those nice tight cable TV or BNC connectors. It'll do all that. So coax cables, and then last but not least, we need this. Get this box out of the way. So this is the your test kit. So you're going to want a test kit. You're going to be able to make sure that your cabling, once you make them, that the cabling is actually good. So you want one of these test sets to be able to test your cabling. Obviously, that's a little protective. It comes with a battery and everything. That's kind of nice. And it's got your connectors for the other end to make sure that everything's working the way it should. So this is nice. Does coax cable. It does phone cable. It does data cables as well. So it's a nice set from Kline Tools. A bit of money. It is a bit of money. I agree with a lot of people that will say, yeah, that's a bit of money. But if you're going to buy something like this, if you're going to buy tools, you're going to want to get something that works pretty well. So this is the stuff. It's a nice set. That's a little bit out of screen there. Let's move our keyboard. You really can't see it again. Nice set of tools. They're quality. They've got some weight to them. They're made well. All the tools. So and I've had these crimpers from very, very cheap ones to very expensive ones. These are nice crimpers. They just feel good. So that's what we got for you today. Alex, you got a good points, Alex. This week, I think the UDM will be in Friday. It might not be until Friday night, so we'll probably do the parts listing on Monday just to make sure everybody gets a chance to see everything. And if you want to buy it, I'll put the listing together for you guys. I actually got everything from Amazon except for the UDM itself. The Unified Dream Machine is about $100 more on Amazon. For some reason, they're back ordered, but if you can go to Ubiquity, you can get it from them. I did get the one, I think it's got a 9 terabyte hard drive for data storage, so for video storage. So we're going to walk through all of it. We're going to walk through setting up video cameras, walk through setting up the access point, walk through setting everything up. But first, the first step, we're going to crawl before we run. So we'll start with your cable modem, your access point you have in your house today, and we'll take that and we'll add to it the normal access point that you can buy at Best Buy, and then we'll work our way up to the Ubiquity stuff. So if you do need to get it, it's going to be a little bit down the road. It'll give you a chance to get the equipment. Whew. It's humid here in Virginia. I'm sweating in the basement. So that's what we got going on today. I wanted to show you the Kline tools that came in. There's a ton of other stuff that came in. As you know, we're building a ton of projects. You got to have the right tools to do it. I've seen it, even right now, before I got this stuff, I've got cables sometimes that are way too long or way too short. Now we can make the cables the exact right length, and we can get everything cleaned up. It's part of the challenge is staying neat and tidy when we do this stuff. So that's this rundown of the news today. This rundown of what we got going on today. I'm glad you guys joined. Alex, everyone really that joined, commented. Paul, Shamani. Hopefully I'm saying your name right. If I've ever butchered your name, never intentional. So I'm glad we can help. Glad we could talk this morning. Don't forget, obviously, trivia night's tomorrow night, 7 o'clock p.m. Eastern time. Adjust locally for wherever you're at. It's going to be a great time. We had a bunch of people last time. I threw the link to the Cyber-Recon trivia page in the show notes already. Go out there, check it out. It's a fun time. Nothing but fun. Love to see you out there. Love to see who can show up and take the reins. Videos back on this week. We'll have video clips, movie and TV clips. Can you identify the movie and TV clips? Let me know. We'll see, I guess. And that being said, I guess nothing to be said, but always share with your friends if you can. Love to see more people on there. Jamani. Okay. Oh, that's not hard. That's not hard at all. Jamani. Thanks, Jamani. It sometimes seems harder for me to do the simple things. The show notes are right below. So Paul asked a question: how do you access the show notes? The show notes that I'd always talk about are just right below in YouTube. If you expand that little area in YouTube, the show notes will be there. They're not there right now, so if you're looking right now, they won't be there. A little tiny bit are there. But after the show, I'll add the links to the news stories, and I'll add the links to the what they call this, the VDV, Video Data and Voice Pro Kit. So that being said, share with your friends. Love to see more people in the morning. Yesterday we had a good show. This morning we have a good showing. Comment. Always love to see your comments below. Like and subscribe. Hit that bell. To be notified when new content comes out. And as always, be safe out there, and we'll see you tomorrow. Have a good day, I guess, too.